2, 1.
Welcome to City News. Every night at 6 and 11 p.m., we're out in your community.
It's a fantastic team of people really dedicated to doing something different, doing something relevant and ethical and meaningful to the communities, and I think audiences are going to love it.
It's not easy. It's one of the 10 toughest trails in the world.
It might be on your bucket list, the GROUSE grind, but after a man went into cardiac arrest over the weekend on this trail, officials want to make sure you know what you're getting into before you start climbing up.
I'm a bit old school, so I don't necessarily love them.
I think it's a great idea.
BC's education curriculum is changing. Now, some of those changes have already come into effect and some are still on their way. Now, that has some parents happy, but others concerned. What exactly are those changes and how do they compare with other provinces?
It's the last day of the PNE's 2018 season. Lots of people are here wrapping up their long weekend and their summer holidays as it's back to school tomorrow. Coming up, we find out how this year's edition of the fair went and what Grammy Award-winning singer is performing here live tonight.
It's not easy. It's one of the 10 toughest trails in the world.
The first time you feel like you won't see the next day.
It's on a lot of people's bucket list, the GROUSE grind. And while it feels amazing to conquer, it can be very dangerous. And now there's a reminder for anyone looking to take on the trail known as Mother Nature's Stairmaster. Make sure you're prepared.
We have had fatalities on the GROUSE grind since 1999.
I've seen people take their parents up like on the bucket list, and the parents are like 70s, and they're taking like a break on the first quarter, and they're going, and they don't even realize what's ahead of them, right?
The latest incident happened Sunday afternoon when a man in his 50s had to be rescued from the steep trail.
We were called to assist the Grouse Mountain Park Rangers for a medical emergency on the GROUSE grind at approximately the quarter mark.
It took first responders about 15 minutes to reach the man who had collapsed.
Once they arrived to the patient immediately deteriorated and actually went into cardiac arrest.
They were able to resuscitate him thanks to a defibrillator and firefighters who train regularly on this hike. This sign at the entrance warns hikers the grind is like walking up the stairs of a 200-story building. That's 1.5 times the height of the CN Tower. Still, every year there are about 40 rescues on Grouse Mountain.
The other day it was pretty fun because I saw these girls with high heels. Of course, they just did like 5 minutes, that's it.
This pair traveling from Korea are trying it out for the first time.
People said, be prepared, but we're not.
If you're not in shape, then I would say take your time and go slow because you will be in trouble.
And just because you don't hike to the top doesn't mean you have to miss out on the view. You can take the sky ride all the way up and you'll get there a lot less sweaty. In North Vancouver, Isabel Regem, City News.
Having these exams and tests are very, very important. They sort of gave you a standard to work towards and some goals to work towards. And without those, are you going to have that incentive? I doubt it.
Kids are heading back to school on Tuesday morning, but things are going to be a little different this year here in British Columbia. The province is making some curriculum changes for students in grades 10 and 12. Students will no longer write a Math 10 final exam or an English 12 provincial exam. Both are being replaced with 2 assessments of core math and literacy skills that combine their knowledge from various subjects. Education Minister Rob Fleming says the aim is to develop skills in critical thinking, collaboration, and technology. But what do those of us who walked uphill through the snow think of the ministry's more freestyle approach to modernizing education? Okay, what do you think of those changes I just described to you?
I'm a bit old school, so I don't necessarily love them.
I think it's a great idea because exams are just really picking up information about a student's ability in one particular moment in time.
I'm not a huge fan of a general assessment versus somebody having to learn, even if it's their most difficult subject, how to persevere through it, even if it's not easy. That's my 2 cents.
I think school is always going to be as hard as the challenges of the assignments more than the exams necessarily.
Now, each province handles this sort of thing very differently. Alberta still runs provincial exams for grade 12 students that are worth 30% of their final grade. Manitoba does something similar, while in Quebec it's more like 50%. And Ontario holds a series of provincial assessments, with the last one in grade 10.
I mean, I wouldn't say one provincial system is better than the other. They all have their differences in merits.
I think if there's other models going on in Canada, it's probably really great to take a look at the results of those and see whether there's one that matches the goals of the teachers and of the BC Ministry of Education.
You can actually take a sample test of what BC grade 10s are taking this year online. When the new literacy assessment comes into effect for grade 12s next year, it's expected to follow a similar format. In Vancouver, David Zura, City News.
As the school year starts, universities are starting to tackle their policies on marijuana. And UBC has made their decision on what those on residents can do when it comes to the soon-to-be legal drug.
Here's a live look at Highway 1 in Burnaby tonight. It's the calm before the storm. The evening commute is a quiet one on this holiday Monday, but this will look much different tomorrow as people head back to work and head back to school. Now, just in time for the new school year comes some service changes with transit across the Lower Mainland. About 24 bus routes are being adjusted in an effort to improve the way people get around the region. More than 100 additional bus trips have been added in Metro Vancouver, which will provide space for an additional 6,000 bus riders